very good evening to all our viewers and welcome to tonight's edition of Primetime News, coming to you live from our Newsfirst studios in Colombo. I'm Lanka. Let's start off with a look at the stories making headlines this evening.
Judicial Service Commission commences investigation on 3 judges involved in the controversial phone conversation. Recording sent to the government analyst. President pays homage to Temple of the Sacred Tooth Relic. Proposal presented to repeal Canadian marriage law. Iran admits unintentionally shooting down Ukrainian plane.
And now the stories in detail. Ministry of Foreign Affairs said Sri Lanka mission in Tehran is presently coordinating with the relevant authorities in Azerbaijan to repatriate the remains of the 3 students who were killed in a fire in the foreign country.
3 Sri Lankan university students aged 21, 23 and 24 studying at Western Caspian University in Baku, Azerbaijan died at their apartments as a result of suffocation from smoke inhalation due to a fire that had occurred on the 9th of January. The 3 Sri Lankan students had left to Azerbaijan in August last year. Foreign media reported that the 3 students had died due to inhaling poisonous gas that was released from a fire that had erupted in the basement of the 2-storied house they occupied in the area of Beyil in Baku. Foreign media added the reason for the fire was a default in an electronic equipment, and the police and fire brigade of Azerbaijan are conducting further investigations into the incident. The deceased have been identified as residents of Kaduela and Piliandala. 2 of the victims, one named Malsha Sandipani and the other Tharuki Amaya, aged 23 and 21 respectively, are members of the same family and residents of Bokundara Piliandala. It's been reported that the sister of the father of the 2 victims has also passed away due to a heart condition.
This lady is the sister of the father of the 2 daughters. She couldn't bear the unfortunate news about these 2 girls. She cried and then complained of chest pains.
24-year-old Amodya Madhu Hansi Jayakodi, another student who fell victim in Azerbaijan, is a resident of Lower Bomiria, Kadwela.
Azerbaijan study.
She went for higher education in Azerbaijan. She spoke to me that evening as well. She was very happy. All we know is that they had died after suffocating inside their room.
When Newsfirst inquired, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Sri Lanka said the Sri Lanka mission in Tehran is presently coordinating with the relevant authorities in Azerbaijan to repatriate the remains of the 3 students. Meanwhile, during a media briefing today, Minister of Higher Education Dr. Bandula Gunawardena expressed the following views in this regard.
We convey our condolences to the bereaved families. Because of the barrier that exists within the local education system in the country, students have to go out of their way to obtain a degree. I hope to design a system to monitor the institutions that send students overseas for higher education. As a long-term approach, we must try to retain these students in the country. Only 30,000 students are absorbed every year to the local university system. Parents spend millions and send their children overseas. I have made a proposal to the government. I have requested for a large plot of land where we will establish internationally accepted universities. The same benefits provided for the Board of Investment will be provided to this zone as well. One foreign student will spend 5 times of what is spent by a tourist. Imagine how much they could spend for a period of 2 to 3 years.
The unfortunate state of the school education and university education system at present is one of the many examples that prove the government's failure to develop the education system in Sri Lanka. While parents spend their entire fortune on national schools with the intention of providing a proper education to their children, the rural school system in Sri Lanka has weakened due to government's failure to allocate sufficient funds for their development. Though Sri Lanka prides itself over the concept of free education, at present students are compelled to fulfill their educational needs through tuition. However, the standards of Sri Lanka's education system remains very low compared to global educational standards. Dilapidated schools and dilapidated sports equipment is no surprise to many children in Sri Lanka. Parents who fail to admit their children to a national school resort to admitting them to international schools. Students deprived of opportunities in local universities, leaving for privately funded overseas education is a common sight at present. While the future generation of our motherland continues to struggle with their future, the politicians in our country continue their struggle to achieve their narrow political objectives. It has now come to the point where people are defrauded and lured into sending their children for substandard overseas educational institutions.
Now, against such a backdrop, teachers and principals in the Ua province charged that appointments and transfers are not carried out in a proper manner.
Interviews were carried out and appointments were made to fill the vacancies opened by retired principals in the Badula district. However, an issue has arisen due to the reluctance of the junior officers to leave the positions.
Interviews were held in May 2019 to recruit principals to replace the retired principals. Based on the results of the interviews, principals were placed in their respective areas on the 2nd of December. But there were already junior officers who were filling in for the retired principals.
Meanwhile, it was also reported that the annual transfer of teachers in the Badula district is not taking place in a proper manner.
According to the National Teacher Transfer Policies, applications recommended by Teacher Transfer Unit for regions except for 3 have not been sent to the Ministry of Education by the Provincial Education Department. So teachers from outstation are inconvenienced. Transfers of teachers for the year 2020 who have served in one school for more than 8 years have not been implemented yet. According to the 1998/20 circular, interviews should be held to fill vacant positions. This did not happen in provincial schools. We know that in the Ua province, interviews were held and appointments were not given to the principals. It was because of political intervention. It is wrong. If the interviews are held and if the education director and secretary agree, why can't they give away these appointments? What's happening now is that interviews are held but appointments are not given. But there are instances where appointments are not given without holding interviews. This has become a joke. Principals aren't appointment to the education system due to political intervention.
The Judicial Service Commission said that they have received a number of complaints regarding 3 judges involved in the controversial phone conversations with MP Ranjan Ramanayaka.
The Judicial Service Commission stated that the discussions were held in this regard. The Judicial Service Commission stated that action will be taken regarding the judges based on the relevant procedures. Chief Justice Jayanta Jayasuriya is the chairman of the Judicial Service Commission and it consists of 2 other commissioners. The Colombo Crimes Division said that telephone conversations of MP Ranjan Ramanayaka have been sent to the government analyst. A senior official stated that they have been directed to submit a full report on the incident. He said further investigations will be carried out based on these reports. Newsfirst inquired from the government analyst department regarding the incident. An official of the department said that they have received a part of the audio recordings. He also stated that steps will be taken to investigate these telephone conversations with the audio analyst laboratory. The official said that the report will be sent to the relevant authorities. The main topic these days is the audio tapes. The government is continuously slinging mud. They came to create a Dharma Dvipaya, but all media networks are exposing these telephone conversations. Is that right? The price of goods are high. The price of rice is high. Reduce those immediately and fulfill the election promises.
Now these audio tapes have been exposed. With these audio tapes, all other issues of the people are forgotten. Please pay the same interest paid for these audio tapes to solve the issues of the people. The new year is approaching. The people have no way of preparing for the new year. Don't let these issues be swept under the carpet.
With those conversations being exposed before the public, there is much disgust within the society towards politicians. With the trust of the people being destroyed in this manner, the society is heading towards a major issue.
The issue that 20 million people face is not these audio tapes. The main issue people face is how to provide their family with a healthy and balanced meal. Enough with these audio tapes. We need a country where a family can afford 3 meals a day.
While society is distracted by numerous incidents, the farming communities are facing many difficulties on a daily basis.
Heavy downpours experienced in the recent past destroyed many cultivations in Gallen-Bidunu. Nearly 5,000 acres of cultivation in Udakallagama and Konwava areas in Gallen-Bidunu have been destroyed.
These crops are destroyed due to heavy rain. This has never happened before. We used to reap a good harvest. How can we sell these to people? As farmers, we are expecting to receive a proper compensation. They did not pay compensation when the fall armyworm attacked and when the elephants attacked. Why aren't the officials paying enough attention to these issues?
Phase 2 of V-Force, the Green Wave initiative, was launched today together with the support of MAS Holdings Private Limited, the Sri Lanka Army and several environmental organizations.
Governmental V-Force.
This is a volunteering force that is attempting to revive the beautiful Ella Forest Reserve. Journeying a distance of over 200 kilometers, the V-Force team arrived at the Ella Reserve today and attended a small event prior to planting the saplings.
The masses that join to do good things are less than those who join to do the bad things. In my view, many have gathered here today to be a part of an opportunity that will provide strength to the future generations. No one was aware of this place before, but today people across the world speak of Ella. Ella is a tourist destination where a majority of financial transactions take place. The faster something gets popular, the faster it gets destroyed. The Ella region boasts of a very unique ecosystem. Lord Buddha has said planting a tree is a meritorious conduct. We must protect the environment of our future generation.
Many recognize Sri Lanka because of Ella. Ella boasts of a magnificent ecosystem. The main challenge to protect Ella is fire eruptions. This timely initiative has been launched against the backdrop where the Ella Forest Reserve has been destroyed due to fires and various constructions. We believe such initiatives will protect the Ella Forest Reserve and preserve its beauty.
Planting a tree is like giving birth to another life. As we give life, we must also look after it until it grows and matures. I believe this is the duty and responsibility of everyone. We should not limit to just planting trees, but we must also nurture them, as these trees will one day protect hundreds of lives. This is the new concept of V-Force.
Subsequently, the planting of tree saplings commenced. Many plants, including sandalwood, runa, gammalu, nelli and pibia, were planted today. The saplings were planted in a 10-acre area in Kithalalla. As an organization, we are very concerned of the environment. This is why we have decided to support the Gammad initiative.
force.
Also in local news, a proposal to repeal the Canadian Marriage and Divorce Act has been drafted. The proposal is due to be labelled as a draft in Parliament.
The proposal was presented as a private member's bill to repeal the law. Accordingly, it is proposed to repeal the number 44 of 1952 Canadian Marriage and Divorce Act. MPs Venerable Athuraliya Rathanathero and Dr. Thusitha Vijayamana presented 4 draft bills earlier to bring amendments to the general marriage law and the Muslim marriage law.
A program to provide firearms to Civil Defence Force personnel for self-defence and to chase away wild elephants commenced today under the auspices of Minister of Wildlife S.M. Chandrasena.
This program, which commenced at the ancient Galvihara in Kudabellan Tambuttegama, will be carried out island-wide today, while Civil Defence Force personnel in the Tambuttegama area were provided with firearms. Deputy Director of Wildlife W.S. Veragama and Director of Civil Defence Force Priyantha Vijay Gunawardena were also present at the occasion.
We went through a lot of trouble to bring this program to action and to find the necessary firearms. It was after many months of work that we obtained the cabinet approval and found the officials who should be provided with the arms. We are very happy with the decision, but after a while the Civil Defence Force personnel may start troubling our farmers, saying that they can't come today, citing various reasons like there is no fuel. Our farmers are already troubled, therefore you must pay attention to this. We cannot pinpoint and say this is where the wild elephants come from. If they come from one place tonight, they will choose another route tomorrow. Therefore, it is important to identify the elephants' paths in order to carry out this program. Yes, we agree, but until that is done, we need to protect our cultivation. At this point, these personnel must come as soon as we call them. They cannot provide protection to just this area.
President Gotabaya Rajapaksa visited Kandy today.
President Gotabaya Rajapaksa arrived in Kandy and paid homage to the Temple of the Sacred Tooth Relic. Subsequently, the President visited the Malwata Vihara. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa then called on the Chief Prelate of the Malwata chapter of the Siam sect, Most Venerable Tibbatwawe Sri Sumangala Thero, and obtained his blessings. The President then called on the Anunayaka of the Malwata chapter, Venerable Niyangoda Vijitasiri Thero. The head of state then called on the chief prelate of the Askiri chapter of the Siam sect, Most Venerable Warkagodu Sri Nyan Ratana Thero, at the Askiri Mahavihara. The Mahasangha and the Anunayaka of the Askiri chapter, Venerable Anumadu Vidamodissa Thero, were also present. The head of state then called on the Paravinadipati of the Askiri Mahavihara, Venerable Naram Panave Ananda Thero, and obtained his blessings. Subsequently, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa visited the Manikinna Vidyasagara temple and called on the chief prelate of the Ramanya sect, Most Venerable Napani Premasiri Thero, and obtained his blessings. Subsequently, the President visited the Gatambe Rajapavanarama. The President then called on the Rajapanaramadipati, Venerable Kapitiyagodu Sirivimula Thero, and obtained blessings.
A public gathering with the participation of the leader of the opposition, Sajid Premadasa, was held in Kaluwagala, Avisavella today.
This was organised by UMP Avisavella electorate organiser and former member of the Provincial Council, Leonard Karunaratne.
Everyone is aware about the global tensions between the United States and Iran. This situation is one where global economy and global peace is severely affected. With the signing of the AXA agreement, our country is a supply hub for the United States. A situation where Sri Lanka is part of these global tensions is created now. When the oil prices increase, what will happen to the cost of goods? When exportation of tea is compromised, foreign revenue will subsequently decrease. These are serious issues.
රටට ලැබෙන්න තිබෙන විදේශ විනිමය අඩු වෙන්නට ඉඩ තියෙනවා. මේව බරපතල ප්‍රශ්න.
Minister Chamal Rajapaksa expressed the following views during a media briefing in Veeragatya today.
The present government has to pay 23 billion rupees for fertilizer that was purchased from companies by the previous government. We were able to pay 6 billion rupees yesterday with the funds obtained from the treasury. This is an institution named the Govi Mandirya that comes under the purview of the Ministry of Agriculture. D.M. Jayaratna, while serving as the Minister of Agriculture, emptied the Govi Mandirya. They then rented out another building for millions of rupees. They had rented out the building for a period of 5 years. The agreement cannot be cancelled for 5 years. The Rural Development Ministry was located in Colombo on Duplication Road. They paid 9.6 million rupees monthly for the building premises. We took the Rural Development Ministry to the Govi Mandirya once again. We now save that 9.6 million rupees.
Spokesperson of the Ministry of Power and Renewable Energy, Sulakshana Jayawardena, said the lack of rain has increased demand of power consumption in the country. Accordingly, daily power consumption is increased by 44 gigawatts per hour. The ministry further requests the general public to conserve energy due to the prevailing condition. A report published by the Asian Development Bank says power generation requirements in Sri Lanka currently grows around 4% annually. Now, environmentalists point out that in order to address this increase, the government must present an environmentally sustainable power generation plan and not proceed with the construction of the coal power plants proposed by the previous government. Newsfirst, Zinat Musafa reports more on this.
The world today consumes 65% more coal than it did in the year 2000. Now, according to the International Energy Agency, coal consumption in Asia has increased from 20% in 1990 to more than 80% in 2019. Now, one of the main reasons for the increase in coal usage is this myth that coal is the cheapest source of energy.
The reason some people still push for coal power is because of the myth that coal-based generation is cheap. Actually, the cost of generation from a new large-scale solar power plant is less than 50% of a new coal. This is not unique for Sri Lanka. Globally, coal power is being displaced because renewables and gas is cheaper. The previous government policy was to have 50% renewable energy by 2030 and 100% by 2050. The policy manifesto of SLPP says that 80% of energy will come from renewables in 2030. But according to CB generation plans, the current 45% renewable energy amount reduces to 40% by 2030 and 35% by 2040. So it actually declines. Adding more coal power to the grid will mean that we will never meet these targets of renewables. Our potential of wind and solar power exceeds our energy needs even in 2050. If we couple our solar and wind development with smart use of hydro resources and battery storage, we can get there faster and provide cheaper energy to the country.
Whether or not coal is cheap, environmentalists point out that the impact of coal power plants is long-term and detrimental. The damage caused by coal power plants is not just limited to the surrounding environment, but to as far as the Anuradhapura district.
I've been to Newsfirst.lk and seen areas which fly ash has deposited and the damage to crops and actual impact on humans. Particular problem for us with Newsfirst.lk is that prevailing southwest monsoon winds takes this sulfur dioxide gas right through and across Anuradhapura, and there are many monuments that can be damaged by sulfurous and sulfuric acid, especially if any statue or any other monument is made out of limestone, which many are, crystalline limestone statues of the Buddha and Bodhisattvas. All those will erode and practically melt away. Environmental impact is severe and it's going to go on for many years. Now, this president has said that our renewable energy target by 2030 are going to be 80% renewable. So if we are going to put up new power plants that are powered by coal, how are we going to ever get close to those targets?
$300 billion US. And according to the United Nations, that's the amount required to tackle climate change. But is Sri Lanka willing to contribute to this effort? But it'll all depend on the government's policy on future power generation.
3 high-ranking officials are set to arrive in the island on the 13th of this month.
Russian Minister of Foreign Affairs Sergei Lavrov, Chinese Foreign Minister and State Councillor Wang Yi and Principal Deputy Assistant Secretary of the State for South and Central Asian Affairs Alice Wells will be visiting Sri Lanka on the 13th of January. Russian Minister of Foreign Affairs Sergei Lavrov will meet with the Minister of Foreign Relations Dinesh Gunawardena to hold a bilateral meeting. During the visit, Minister Lavrov will also call on Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa at the Temple Trees. Visiting State Councillor and Foreign Minister of China Wang Yi will have a courtesy call on Minister of Foreign Relations Dinesh Gunawardena at the ministry on the same day. Principal Deputy Assistant Secretary of State for South and Central Asian Affairs Alice Wells will meet with senior government officials and members of civil society to discuss a range of bilateral and regional issues, including shared interests in a free and open Indo-Pacific region that fosters prosperity, democracy, justice and human rights.
And with that, we wrap up tonight's edition of Primetime News. Thank you very much for joining us. Good night.